This is Simon with AvaTrade. Welcome to our weekly webinar, Mapping Out Your Week Ahead. Special welcoming goes to new people, and as the beginning, I always mention it, a famous phrase from the traders when they say you plan your trade and then you trade your plan. And this is something that helps not just in trading, but in general in life, but specifically in trading. It really could improve your results. Of course, there's no guarantee, but definitely things are much better when we get organized. A few things about myself. My name is Simon Friedman. I'm a senior account manager with AvaTrade. I started my trading career as a prop trader in New York City in June of 2000, and it's been over a 25-year journey. I did the prop trading for about 11 years, and then I moved to a different way of trading and also started to mentor and educate traders. And I'm very happy to have this great opportunity to be assisting our customers at AvaTrade. So the agenda, as usual, we speak about indices, stocks, commodities, Forex. For dessert, we have a little bit of crypto. We'll go over some fundamentals as usual. We'll take a look at economic calendar, and then we'll switch to the charts to look at things from a technical angle. And that's pretty much what we're trying to do here. Risk warning, you can find the full statement at avatrade.com website. Of course, everything we do here is purely educational. We do not suggest any trades. We do not give any trading signals. Please feel free to subscribe and follow us on social media channels. You have Telegram, you have X, and as I always say, my favorite YouTube channel, where you can find a lot of information, including tutorials, educational material, and webinars, including this one. You can find them on YouTube. So if you miss the webinar, or if you think you'll be missing the webinar, don't stress. Webinars are being recorded and posted on YouTube, so you can watch them at your convenient time. Now, please click likes if you like it, of course. Feel free to share with people that might benefit from this. Write your comments, questions if you have any, and subscribe and click that bell so you'll be notified of new things coming in. So the highlight of the past week, of course, was the PCE numbers, the numbers that the Feds are paying attention to, and that stands for Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index, right? Here's the first slide from marketwatch.com, and it says right here, a key measure of inflation rose at a slightly elevated pace in August, but not enough to suggest much bigger increases tied to US tariffs on the way. The latest price report is likely to reassure top officials at the Federal Reserve that inflation is still relatively well contained despite the uptick since the spring, stemming in part to much higher US tariffs. The PCE index, the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, rose 0.3% in August, Bureau of Economic Analysis said on Friday. So another one, the core PCE, that's the one that excluding the food and energy cost, increased by 0.2%, and that's kind of in line, and it's been showing the same for a few months, and in line with also 2.9% year over year. So it is an uptick a little bit in PCE, but as they say here, not enough for panic. It looks like Fed's still considered being under control. Now, of course, we all hear about things about AI. We spoke about it last week, I think, and every week pretty much. Still a lot of excitement. There's a lot of worries also. We had Oracle issuing the bonds. That raises a lot of questions. So let's just read it together. It might seem like much based on action in the markets, but doubts about the durability of artificial intelligence trade were having a moment on Wall Street this week. Several high-profile analysts published reports focused on potential risk to the AI narrative. Recent deals involved Oracle Corp and OpenAI, as well as OpenAI and NVIDIA Corp, revived concerns about the circular financing in AI, as well as where the money for this new data center commitment would come from. For the first time, companies appeared willing to take on more debt to get in on the action. Just look at Oracle unusual jumbo bond deal from earlier this week. All right, we're going to hear a lot more of these things in upcoming days for sure. Also, I was listening to some analysts speaking logics, right? NVIDIA is kind of financing OpenAI, so OpenAI could buy the chips from NVIDIA. So basically, they're financing their own success in a way, right? So a lot of things. Now, another thing that was kind of on news this week, I took the screenshot from IBM website actually. It says HSBC breaks new ground in quantum-enabled algorithm trading with IBM quantum computers. And it says right here, global financial services company HSBC has announced evidence for the potential of quantum computers to solve valuable problems in the field of algorithmic bond trading. In an ongoing collaboration with IBM, researchers combined quantum and classical computational resources to analyze HSBC's real-world production scale bond trading data. The hybrid quantum classical method employed by the HSBC IBM team yield up to 35% improvement over purely classical techniques for predicting which trades would be completed. We'll take a look at IBM. We haven't spoken about IBM for a very long time, and we totally missed a very nice move to the upside. We'll take a look at the chart. Okay, about tariffs, right? We all heard this week there are more tariffs coming in. And this one says tariffs aren't hitting earnings yet. Why that might not last? And it says right here, the impact of President Donald Trump sweeping tariffs has been muted so far, largely due to maneuvering companies have been quietly doing behind the scenes. Companies have begun sourcing products from countries with lower cost, and they have been reclassifying imports so they come in tariffs free under the US-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. And they have been slashing costs to give them the financial flexibility to absorb tariffs costs without impacting their profitability. Though there are some notable exceptions, the bottom line is the aggregate corporate margins remain at high levels and consumers have been largely shielded from rising prices. Here's the new thing, right, that we heard last week. Trump's latest tariffs raised more questions. Investors need to stay alert. And here are the key points. President announced new tariffs effective October 1st, including 100% on certain pharmaceuticals, 25% on heavy trucks, 50% on kitchen cabinets, and 25% on upholstery furniture. Also, the administration's appeal regarding the legality of country-specific tariffs will be heard by the Supreme Court on November 5th. So something to look forward to, right? With decision expected by year end. Analysts anticipate further tariff announcements on critical minerals and semiconductors, with new probes launched into industrials, robotics, and medical device manufacturers. President Donald Trump's latest tariff threats on pharmaceutical furniture and foreign-made heavy trucks is the latest counter to recent complacency about tariffs and reminder, this is the key thing, a reminder that more are coming. So things are not so calm. We're gonna hear more things as far as tariffs and more, I guess, volatility in the markets because of that. All right. The Feds, the new numbers, current numbers for the upcoming meeting. We have 87.7% probability of the rate cut. Okay, we're coming to economic calendar, and before we go through it, I just want to explain a few important things to, especially to new traders. This information is public. You can access it on our web trader or the app. You can just Google it. A lot of providers give you this information. It's of course for free and it's public information, and you can know it ahead of time. So what I do here, I take out the high impact events only. As you could see, everything is in red. There's so much more. Again, when you look through it, you can choose whatever's relevant to your trading. As I said, I take out only high impact events because so much more, you can really fit it on one page. And the times here that I said is GMT, kind of universal time. You can play with it as well. So a few things for this week. Starting with Tuesday, we have manufacturing and non-manufacturing PMI numbers from China. We have interest rate decision from Australia, followed by the statement and the press conference. We have retail sales from Germany, followed by GDP numbers from UK, CPI numbers from Germany, and the first out of, it looks like second speeches this week. ECB Bank's President Christine Lagarde is speaking on Tuesday. Large manufacturing index from Japan. Wednesday, we have inflation numbers from European Union, and we have the first run of data from ADP. We have predictions. The previous one was 54. This one is lower to 30K. And we have manufacturing PMI numbers from US as well. So again, the ADP is different agency. They report usually on Wednesday. I think last week was last time was Thursday for some reason, and they give us a little bit of indication what NFPs might look like. Trade balances from Australia, CPI numbers from Switzerland. It looks like consensus, they're looking for increase in CPI, and the last decision, they kept interest rate unchanged. It's at 0% in Swiss National Bank. Now that brings us to Friday, which is a busy day. We have Governor Bank of Japan, Ueda speaks, and we have another speech of President Lagarde of ECB. Then we have, of course, as usual, first Friday of the month, we have one of the most important announcements on numbers for the month. That's NFPs. As you remember, last number was shockingly low. 22,000 jobs were added. This time they are expecting 39,000. Also, we'll see the unemployment, average earnings, and so on. So that's the highlight of economic calendar on Friday. And then later on, we have Governor of Bank of England speaking, and service PMI numbers from US concluding the week as far as the high impact events, right? So again, it's important to stress it out. If you are trading and if you want to be aware of things and not get caught up by surprise by certain moves in the market, it's important then that you start your week. I usually do it when I do my webinars on Sunday, prepare myself for the week. Some people like actually put reminders for those numbers, so you don't get caught in the positions that you don't want to be in, or the opposite. Some traders like to trade those high volatility momentums, so they want to be anticipating those moves. All right, so economic calendar, we're done with it. Let's move on. Winners and losers for the week. So last week, as you could see, we had a nice bounce in metals and energies. I think the previous week was the opposite. They moved down. So huge move on palladium, almost 11.5%. Platinum was up more than 10%, 10.5%. Silver was up almost 8%. Heating oil up 531, crude oil up 447, coffee up 337, gasoline up 289, and gold up 2.27%. That's on the winning side. On the losing side, we had a big drop in Bitcoin, more than 5%. Cocoa was down more than 4%, and soybeans down 1.12%. We're going to take a look at these things when we get to the charts one by one. All right, and let's get to the charts right now. So we'll start with indices, and then we'll take a look at some individual stocks, and then we get to commodities. So we'll take a look at those winners and losers, and the Bitcoin we'll take a look at the end. So indices, we'll start with China as usual. Friday was a sell-off, erasing the previous 2 days. So for now, we're still holding the trend line connecting the previous lows, and it looks like we are trading in the ascending channel here in a way. Let's see if we hold this trend line. For now, I think this candle here from September 11 could be our indication for support and resistance. So far, we tried to break above. So the high here is 15,240. Just mark it exactly that number. 15,240. That's our immediate resistance, and support would be the low of this candle. We're trading right in the middle, as you could see, and we're still holding that ascending trend line, right? Japan has been super strong. If you remember, we had a nice profit taking here, and we bounced right back up and continue making highs. After this big move on 18th of September, the very next day we tried to break below, recovered nicely, and we're trading in kind of in the upper half of that day. So we could be looking to a breakout about this candle here. 45,705. Let's mark it here. 705. All right. This week we have a speech of Governor of Bank of Japan. Also, we have important index numbers. So let's see how it works. And I guess this attempt to move lower would be kind of our support. It's not a strong level here, just something that we can keep in mind as a mental support here. The low was 44,240. Let's see. 44,240. That's our support that we try to break through. Okay, so let's see what this news and the global market moves. Let's see how Japanese index plays this upcoming week. Now coming to US indices, right? So they had a sell-off and a nice recovery on Friday, but still all three major indices ended up in red. Not a lot, but still in red. So Dow Jones was down 0.2%, S&Ps was down 0.3%, and Nasdaq was the biggest loser, 0.7% for the week. So let's take a quick look here in the same order. So Dow Jones, 3 consecutive sellings Friday, move to the upside, finishing the week down 0.2% or 68 points. We're talking about the cash index. Now, what we see here is the CFDs for futures. So we did have this week, together with other indices, a brief all-time high, and we closed at 46,560 on Dow Jones. S&P 500, the same thing. We had all-time high, followed by this week's red closing, right? 3 consecutive days down. We started the week strong to the upside, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday sell-off, and Friday some recovery, closing at 66.97 and a quarter. So we are close to the highs, and these 3 consecutive losing days attracted sellers here definitely, and then we bounced on Friday. Nasdaq, as we said, lost 0.7% for the week. The same picture after establishing all-time high, 3 consecutive days to the downside, Friday recovery. Let's see how this week starts and will continue. At least we have a resistance now on all the indices, the recent all-time high. Let's see how the small cap is doing. Small cap, the same story, 3 consecutive days to the downside, Friday a little bit of recovery. German index, as you could see here, after multiple attempts to break through 24,500, we were slowly sliding lower. We're sitting and hugging the trend line connecting the previous lows. Friday was actually an up day for German index. Thursday was a down day and Wednesday was an up day. So we did close, or should have closed in a positive for the week. Yes, that's right. So German index, actually unlike the US indices, closed positively for the week. UK index, it looks the strongest. As you could see, after making all-time highs, we came to retest the support, then move up. We made a lower high, but there was no lower low followed. And this week, unlike US indices or Germany, we actually moved higher strongly all 3 days in a row, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So you could see here, a weekly chart, we could be on the way to retest the all-time highs from August 22nd. The high was 93.82.5. 93.82.5. Let's correct the number here. 82.5. So this is our all-time high on a UK FTSE index, FTSE 100. All right, that's it pretty much with indices. Let's move to individual stocks. And we'll start with, of course, the ones that are on news, Oracle and Nvidia. Here we go, Oracle. You see this move. You remember that excitement when they reported earnings and they said they have these crazy deals. One deal was with OpenAI for 300 billion. So that day we're closing green. Since then, we had 2 consecutive sellings here, came back, couldn't go, retest the highs, and we just actually made a lower low followed by the lower high followed by the lower low. And that could be a sign of a reversal. Let's see how we start this week. Another thing important to notice that not always, but a lot of times after the gaps like that, eventually the price catching up and closing the gap before moving higher or continuing lower here. So here, if you look roughly, we probably closed about 50% of that gap. Not the 50% of the move from the low here. Let's take a quick look. We're not gonna guess, but visually, it looks like we're at 50. Yeah, exactly. We are at 50% retracement from the highs from this move. So the question is, will the buyers step in? Or fundamentally speaking, will those worries about the bonds and spending and where to get money, will that raise more concerns? And if that's the case, we might be continuing lower here, at least closing gap. We are still far away from in 50-day moving average, and we are too far or very far from 200 moving average here. So we could continue sliding or not. We could find buyers here and try to bounce higher from here. So that's Oracle. Another player or big player or the biggest player in AI business, we have Nvidia. We had few attempts to break through 184. The last one was here with the big candle here on 22nd of September. The high was 184.44. Since then, we've been sliding. some profit taking, but we are holding strongly to the 50-day moving average here on NVIDIA. Now, as I promised you, the IBM, the HSBC/IBM news, it's pretty big. And take a look. IBM was in trouble for a long time since a gap down here back in July. And since bottoming here on August 12th, we've been nicely moving higher. And this move is pretty good from 233 to almost 290 here. We did close this gap easily. And we are holding these gains. So let's see, maybe this news is triggering those buyers with the IBM quantum computers being used for trading. Let's see how this works out. As of now, this move up looks very good, and as you could see, the increased volume is supporting that as well. So that's IBM. Let's take a quick look at Tesla, as Tesla is also holding to the recent gains. Since we broke this 345, 350 area, we continue strongly to the upside, and now it looks like we're finding a kind of resistance here around 440. Let's see how that works out. Now, Intel, if you remember, I spoke about Intel a few times, and I mentioned that Intel, something is cooking there. I don't remember when exactly, but when the market was selling and Intel was going up, it could be somewhere here or here, don't remember exactly. But if you remember, a very long time ago, we said that Intel around $19 to book value of the company. So my thoughts were, and I shared with my team, and I think I shared it at a few webinars, that it's definitely a good way of investing to companies that would like to probably buy Intel. And then, of course, we heard the government's getting involved by investing or buying 10% of the company. Then we had NVIDIA pledging money to Intel, and now Intel was asking Apple to invest. So as you could see, I think this was the NVIDIA's announcement of investing in Intel. And then since then, we just moved high here. So imagine, I mean, it's easier to look back and think, what if, right? But $18, $19 price level was a really good buying opportunity. And whoever investors or traders got in, I'm sure they're very happy campers right now. So as you could see here, the next kind of level of resistance here, it's around 37.10. That's a week of July 14, 2024. So as you could see, it was a lot of accumulation here. We did hold at 18, 19 levels here, and now we just shoot up with those news and investing in buyouts and so on. So that's on Intel. Let's take a quick look at some other things. Oil had to move up. We're going to take a look at it when we get to commodities. So with oil, usually we take a look at Exxon Mobil and Chevron stocks. Take a look. Nice move. We did close above the previous resistance here on Exxon. And let's see the Chevron. I'm not so excited here, right? But still, the whole week pretty much we had positive days. Friday a little bit in red. Now also, we spoke about Pfizer with those issues with injections, right? The COVID and other issues that caused the government connected it. I think we mentioned last week, connected to death of 25 children. So there was a reaction here on Pfizer. Since then, we've been moving down since double top here on Pfizer. So Pfizer has been suffering from those issues with changes, vaccination and other things. take a look. We did just this week, we broke through that trend line after double topping here, probably triple back in March. So since then, since this move to the upside in August, on August 28th, we continued lower. So we could come, if we continue lower this way, we could be coming to kind of retest this support here from August 1st. Below here is what, 2307. So that's on Pfizer. Now, on the other hand, with this new tariffs on medications, so on, take a look. Johnson & Johnson, being an American company, is it looks like it's benefiting, right? The whole week we've been moving higher, and we are trading at see the previous high here we made on August 17, and then we actually retested this high here before the reversal. Let's see, the high here was 180.82. Let's set it up, 180.82 high. And that was a week of January 1st. That was the first week of the year 2023. Since then, with a very steep sell-off, and since then we tried to move higher, but couldn't do it. And just now, in recent weeks, we actually retested again. Week of August 17, we retested that high, and we're actually holding onto those gains. And this last week, it shows a very strong price action that could actually try to take that high again and potentially move higher. So that's on Johnson & Johnson. Again, with the new tariffs that are kicking in October 1st with the medication and other things, it looks like Johnson & Johnson is really gaining from that, as it could be more business for it. And let's take a look at banks, the last thing. Banks, after these spikes in the beginning of the week on the 23rd, we did have a spike with all-time highs, followed by sell-off, and the last 2 days, kind of recovery here. JP Morgan, it looks like the all-time high closing on Friday, so the banks are looking strong. Bank of America, all of them are looking strong after a little bit of a profit taking. We're back at the highs. So the banks look healthy. That's a good sign in general for the markets. Okay, moving on to commodities, we'll just run through them really quick. So the big gainer was palladium, up 11.45. We are testing this candle from July 30th on the daily, where the high was 13.1620, and we could be moving higher and retesting the highs. And actually, some traders could look at it as a cup and holder, which potentially could actually shoot up much stronger. But again, we're not here to guess or test our crystal ball. Metals were strong, and this week was very strong for them. So palladium on the way to possibly retest the resistance. Platinum, we just broke through this resistance, and we spoke about platinum many times as how it could be catching up with gold. I think we gave an example a while ago of 2014 when platinum price was $300 higher than gold. So there's a way to go. Take a look. We did have accumulation, shoot up. Then we broke the trend line connecting the highs here. Then we stopped right at the resistance of July 21st. And in the last two sessions, there's a huge move on a large volume, breaking through it. Super strong move on palladium. And take a look on the monthly chart. We could continue. Of course, we might see profit taking corrections and so on, but we are, see, when we broke through this resistance here on Thursday, and then we followed Friday by a very strong move, the buyers are taking over here. Silver up almost 8%, 7.95%. Super strong, just flying in the skies. We might see continuation here as the volume. That's what traders or investors like to see when you have a strong move to the upside supported by growing volume. So there's no divergence there. So that's metals. You know what? If we're already in gold here, let's do gold. Swell is sitting at the highs here. No selling going on. Up 2.27%. So then we're moving to energies. Heating oil strong. We just broke through the previous resistance here. Could be on the way higher here. Crude oil had a strong week. We still didn't manage to close above 200-day moving average here. So we had red Monday, we had a strong Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, we had a move to the upside. If we closed higher, there would be a different picture. We briefly broke through the previous resistance here on 66.01. I think the high of the day was 66.40 and retraced, closing at 65.17. On crude oil, up 4.47% for the week. And gasoline also had a strong week. We did retest. We had that kind of a triple top here, but also retraced lower here. Coffee. Let's take a quick look at coffee. We had a long correction here, breaking through the previous support, and this week we bounced right back up, closing above this 376 area, which is a very important area here, and closing above this resistance from June 6, 2025, this current year. So it could be that we'll continue to the upside here. We really held nicely the 200 moving average. We did close below, and very next day we recovered that sell or selling and moved higher here. All right, so that's as far as the winners. Then we have a cocoa and soybeans on the losing side. Here we go. Cocoa is trading below that key psychological level of 7,000. And we spoke about it, I think, previous week or the week before. Then as we start breaking the previous support here, we could be looking for lower support somewhere else. So that's on cocoa, down 4.03%. And soybeans sold as well. From this 1044 level, we sold. We started the week really with the selling and then tried to recover here. We're still below 50-day moving average. So these are the losers. And let's move to FX. We had a strong week for dollar. And if you remember, we mentioned that this support here was broken. And now when we start moving higher, we either establish the new resistance or prove that that support was strong, and then we come to reestablish support. Looks like the second option was more in favor to the market. We did break through that 97.42. We closed on Thursday above the 50-day moving average, and Friday we gave away maybe 40% of that move still, closing above the 50-day moving average here. So dollar had a little party this week. And of course, the majors had the opposite move. Euro dollar came closing below 50-day moving average, and then Friday bouncing and closing a little bit above. Pound continued the weakness. It looks like around here, 133.20s, we're having the support as we had previously here before the move up. 133.32 was the support from September 3rd. Looks like we're holding around those numbers. Aussie dollar, we have interest rate decision this upcoming week, so I'll be watching it. It was a sell-off, but we stopped right on 50-day moving average. And you cannot say it about New Zealand dollar. As we said last week, it's been the weakest out of major currencies. It's been selling. We broke through 50-day moving, 50, 100, and 200-day moving average last week. This week, we continued the sell-off, and we broke through the previous support around these levels here, 157, 158 here, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, heavy sell-off. Friday, a little bit of green. So New Zealand dollar remains the weakest so far. A dollar moved higher, breaking the previous resistance against the Swiss franc. USD CAD, we had a nice move, closing above 50-day moving average since April. This is the first time we closed above the 50-day moving average here on dollar CAD. And interesting, because usually the move up in oil would also push the Canadian dollar higher, but in this case, it didn't happen. So we are officially closed about 200 moving average, which could bring the buyers, or we might be trying to retest that level again, maybe try to establish support. And if not, we might move to this previous level of support here. So basically in the USD CAD, this is our channel in a way, 140 resistance around here based on the previous resistance here, and support around 137.20s, right? Triple bottom around this level. Okay. Well, let's take a quick look at cryptocurrencies as we promised for dessert. Bitcoin, as we said, was down for the week, more than 5%, 5.16%. This was the major move down here on 25th. On Bloomberg, they said there was a lot of liquidation or sell-off in cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. So what's discouraging here, again, on the buying side, they had a strong move to the downside and no bounces, which is trading at the bottom over the weekend. Nothing major happened. Let's see how we start on Monday. XRP, we had another retest of the lows here. You remember that number 273, the previous support before the bounce, and then we tested again beginning of September. The low here was 269.58, and then we had another one 22nd, 269.46. So actually this tail here, it's our immediate support, you could say that. And then we tried again, but we bounced from that level, which is kind of happy for XRP. 269.67 was the low. 69.67. That was the last attempt, which was the higher from the previous low, and then we bounced 2 days in a row. And we are right on this trend line here, trading around 277 on XRP. All right, I think, you know what, let's take a quick look at Ethereum. Ethereum was a big sell-off from this triangular here. And we continue kind of. All right, so that wraps up our market review for today. Please don't forget about the social media channels. Subscribe, click the likes. Write your comments, subscribe, click the bells on YouTube. Feel free to share this webinar with people that might benefit from it. And just put it together, what we spoke about. We have new tariffs kicking in this week, October 1st. We have NFP numbers together with other things for the week. You know, let's just take a quick look at this. We have numbers from China, interest rate decisions from Australia. We have some GDP numbers, CPI numbers. We have President Lagarde speaking twice, definitely important for Europe. We have a governor of Bank of Japan speaking, and the culmination, the highlight of the week is going to be NFPs. So busy week. Enjoy the weekend. Prepare yourself, get some energy, spend some quality time with loved ones. And of course, I want to wish everyone a great and successful and profitable trading week. All the best. See you all next week. Take care.